Is it true that BTS Jungkook's house was broken into by thieves? Who is the real culprit behind this reckless act? Why did HYBE get angry, and how is Jungkook's father after this incident? Shocking facts from CCTV finally revealed. Click, read, and don't miss a second of this suspenseful story. What happens if the home of a world superstar like Jungkook BTS does not escape the target of thieves? Who dares to do it? Dan, is it true that Jungkook's father collapsed in shock? Those questions are no longer just wild speculation of netizens. Today, the facts speak, and the answers not only surprise, but reveal a dark side we never expected from a world that seems to sparkle. Around 1:47 a.m. Seoul time, a strange noise was heard from the corner of the courtyard of a private house owned by Jungkook, a BTS member who was abroad for a personal schedule. Such houses are usually heavily guarded by high-level security systems. That night, however, something got away. An internal source said that the first person to notice the gaffe was Jungkook's own father. In a sleepy state, he thought the sound came from the wind or wild animals. However, when he tried to turn on the outside lights from inside the house, the system simply did not respond. If something messed everything up, that what's on the CCTV is unbelievable. A masked man wearing a dark jacket managed to sneak in through an automatic fence that usually can only be opened with a fingerprint or the homeowner's remote. The surprise: he knows the position of the camera. It avoids the most vital angles. The movements are too calm for the size of an ordinary thief. Even more suspicious, this man just went into a certain room. He does not mess with cabinets, does not steal electronics, does not carry away branded bags. He went straight to Jungkook's father's office. Dan, just a few minutes later, he came out with a flash. Why is that all? In the morning, after the official report was received by the security forces, HYBE management immediately held an emergency meeting. In their internal broadcast, a source said, "There are things that should not be leaked. And this theft is not just about things. It's about information." What's in that flash? Is it related to internal documents, secrets about the contract, or even footage that could damage Jungkook and BTS's image? A former HYBE staffer who declined to be named mentioned, "That's no ordinary data. That's important data, very personal, and it concerns more than one artist." After the incident, news emerged that Jungkook's father had been rushed to the hospital. The cause? Heavy shock. He is known as a person who takes great care of the privacy and security of the family. However, the news that developed among fans was even more terrible. Some said that Jungkook's father was unconscious due to a mild heart attack. The family did not issue an official statement, but one of the neighbors said, "We saw the ambulance coming very quickly. Never before have we seen such frantic expressions from family members." In the CCTV footage, one movement of the thief's hand raises a lot of speculation. He was able to touch his left chest and form a certain symbol. Not in vain, because the symbol leads to a logo very similar to that of a rival company of the Korean entertainment industry. Is this industrial sabotage? Or could this be the work of an insider who feels betrayed? Other allegations also point to former HYBE employees who were involved in contractual conflicts. Some netizens even linked this to a long-established conspiracy theory that there are those who want to destroy BTS's image from the inside. In his official account, Jungkook only wrote one short sentence. Something inevitable will come in time. Is this a form of code that he already knows something? Is Jungkook hiding more than we see? Many netizens are speculating. Fans assumed the phrase had a deep meaning, as if Jungkook had guessed that something was going to happen. In fact, some said that Jungkook had long felt that someone was after him. One of the most surprising theories is that this theft was deliberately committed to divert attention from a larger issue. Some international fans said that this case comes at the same time as the news of leaked documents regarding the dissolution of another major group in the K-pop industry. So, could this all just be a show to cover up something bigger? Or is there a real threat to the safety of Jungkook and his family? ARMY, as BTS fans are called, is not standing still. They created a massive digital movement with the hashtags ###hashtag protect Jungkook and hashtag justice for Jikidad ***. They demanded an open investigation, and there was even an international petition urging the South Korean government to intervene. It's no longer about celebrity privacy. This is a planned crime. One army officer wrote on Twitter that HYBE is now working with Seoul police to delve deeper into the case. But until now, there have been no arrests. Security forces only pocketed a blurry portrait of the perpetrator's face, who seemed to be deliberately wearing a high-tech mask that could mess with automatic face detection. Some detectives called the case high-level and intelligence class. But the more egregious facts begin to emerge, not just about control, but about the systematic exploitation of the images and emotions of two human beings who since adolescence have been shaped into assets. A leaked internal report from one of the strategy department's meetings reveals a term that was never imagined to be used in humans: differentiated emotional capital. In that context, Taehyung and Jungkook are referred to as energy sources of emotional dualism that can be separated, commodified, and monetized separately, with the condition that their closeness must remain ambiguous. If too real, the effect could disrupt the architecture of the conservative masculine and female fanbase. This recognition made many ARMY angry, not playing. How can human relationships be used as a variable in profit strategies? And who exactly has been defining the line between best friend love and love that must be blurred? Former marketing analyst HYBE revealed that there were internal survey reports indicating that the closeness of the two members caused an uncomfortable reaction from sponsor groups and overseas investors who wanted Idol's image to be more neutral, more controlled in terms of gender chemistry. This statement is the main trigger for a big debate about whether there is systemic interference in regulating narratives that involve orientation, affection, and even identity. Freedom of expression is not only limited professionally. One of the former security coordinators said that Jungkook had received a stern warning for refusing to appear in an electronic cigarette advertisement that had actually been agreed to by the agency. He said, "I'm not going to be a promotional tool for something that can kill my fans." But they just replied, "You're not paid to have an opinion." Not only does it demean Jungkook's personal worth as an individual, but it also shows how the industry is so open to exploiting moral boundaries for money. Furthermore, one of the employees who had been involved in the production of the content claimed that there was footage of Taehyung's personal documentary that was deliberately manipulated to form a narrative of classy loneliness. Some scenes that show him laughing out loud with Jungkook or sitting on the floor writing poetry together are cut out and replaced with cold, lonely visuals, and made as if he is an introverted artist who prefers himself. Because luxury brands prefer mysterious, lonely figures to emotionally warm men. So quotes from a creative note that is now widespread among investigative fandom. The most painful fact came from a leaked voice recording from one of the rehearsal rooms that was accidentally caught by the sound engineering staff. There, Jungkook's voice asked in a tired tone, "Can I still love something without your permission?" A question that slices the line between artists and prisoners. No human being deserves to be forced to ask permission to feel. No human being deserves to be the subject of commerce for the sake of maintaining visual consistency. Taehyung himself was called several times creatively sabotaged. In one of his video art projects designed as a private work for a Seoul museum, there is evidence that his raw files were once systemically lost, erased from all internal servers without explanation, leaving only the final pieces already in corporate colors and watermarked by sponsors. In fact, she said, she didn't know her project had been released until fans asked about it in person at a meet and greet event. Even more surprising are reports of a planned restructuring of promotional membership that occurred before the draft period began. Internal documents mention scenarios that deliberately reduced Taehyung and Jungkook's involvement in group projects for the sake of testing the market narrative. They were a social experiment, a strategy to see if BTS could stay afloat without the most emotional side of the group. An action that should have caused an ethical crisis at the management level, but instead was applauded in the meeting. Jungkook gave a subtle hint during one of his live broadcasts when he sang a snippet of the song that was never released, containing the lyrics, "I'm told to shine, but not too bright / they love my voice, but silence my fight." Not a few thought it was just an art form, but after leaked internal documents and testimonials from former staff, the lyrics felt like a voiceless confession sheet full of wounds. It wasn't just fans who felt the anger, but also fellow entertainment industry workers who witnessed how two young people, supposedly surrounded by love and creativity, were pressured to become visual puppets with predetermined scripts from behind a cold boardroom. Taehyung, who was known to the public as the most calm and mysterious among BTS members, was repeatedly warned internally for being too revealing. In his interactions with fans, he was once banned from a live broadcast just because he wanted to read a poem of his own creation that contains reflections on the freedom of the soul. A former production team member who has now left the company revealed that there was an internal memo that explicitly wrote, "Minimize content that shows Taehyung's deep inner reflection. Focus on visual and exotic images." The sentence angered many fans. Is a sincere artist forbidden to be himself just because he is considered incompatible with the packaging of capitalism? Increasingly, the public began to question, are Taehyung and Jungkook merely idolized for the sake of the public, or locked up in pseudo-luxury tightly controlled by invisible hands? Their freedom is not just about the schedule or the songs they release. It's about restrained souls, censored expressions, and politicized personal affinities. When Taehyung appears to shy away from sensitive topics in interviews, or when Jungkook cuts to his own story with a bitter smile that can't fool anyone who knows him, we now know it's no coincidence. It was the result of years of practice of a system that silenced the truth subtly, but brutally. The most controversial issue came when a former member of the security team leaked that Taehyung and Jungkook had tried to put together a personal collaboration project, not just a musical duet, but a visual documentary about their journey as humans. The project was outright rejected by management on the grounds that it was too sensitive, too personal, too risky. In the leaked internal discussion, there was even a vile statement from one of the bigwigs. Taekook is more profitable as an illusion that can be controlled. If they talk to themselves, we lose our way. The sentence shows how strong the importance of making their closeness a narrative tool, but not a reality that can grow out of the agency's control. Not a few army who then began to question, how can two humans who are so sincere and full of love be made into industrial products that must follow the script of emotion? Many began withdrawing financial support and began a boycott campaign not against BTS, but against the system that controls them. Even in some international fan forums, a movement has emerged called #decolonizidol, a call to end the treatment of idols like consumer products without ethical boundaries. In one rare moment, Jungkook once wrote on the official platform, "If I can only convey half of my thoughts, will you still be able to love me completely?" The line has now been reread by thousands of fans in multiple languages, with one meaning very clear. He wanted to say something, but wasn't allowed to. And now, our question is no longer, what's going on behind the scenes, but how long will they have to endure all this alone? They're not robots. They are not fictional characters. They are young humans who since their teens have been sold to the system, and now can only convey screams through gestures. They whisper the truth in songs, pin wounds in blank stares backstage, and hide anger in silence. The world might call them superstars, but we know they're just two kids trying to survive the storm created by the hands that are supposed to protect. If you're reading this with an open heart, don't let them continue to scream silently. Say this, discuss, spread the word. Because if the truth can no longer be conveyed from within, then let us shake the outer walls. When Jungkook had time to perform live while singing in his hotel room, not a few felt there was something he wanted to convey implicitly. It turned out that according to the confession of one of the former internal audiovisual staff, the live was actually not scheduled and did not get prior permission from management. Jungkook said he broke into the private broadcast permission system because he couldn't stand seeing his narrative manipulated. He deliberately sings certain songs that have lyrics full of meaning about the search for identity and restraint. But what followed was something the public rarely knew. In less than 2 hours, Jungkook reportedly had to attend an impromptu evaluation session and was summoned to HYBE's headquarters in Seoul without a clear agenda. A staff member present at the time said he didn't say a word, but from his eyes, you could tell he had just gone to war. And that war isn't just against agency, it's also against a system that has long dictated what's okay to feel, what's worth showing, and who's worth loving. In a world that sells images of friendship and freedom, the reality is that their human relationships are confined within the confines of algorithms, statistical figures, and corporate interests. The closeness of Taehyung and Jungkook, who have always inspired millions of people, turns out to be dangerous, not because they harm anyone, but because they are too genuine, too honest, too unpolished. In one rare moment that was never widely publicized, a security staffer who was on an overseas concert tour claimed to have overheard their private conversations backstage. Taehyung once told Jungkook, "If one day I can no longer be like this, just remember, I was happy when we both didn't have to pretend." The words became a kind of silent spell in internal circles, a secret that was covered with a professional smile in front of the cameras, but kept a cry behind it. There were even